Richard FitzRalph was an Irish Archbishop of Armagh during the 14th century. FitzRalph was born into a well-off burgess family of Anglo-Norman, Hiberno-Norman descent in Dundalk, Ireland. He is noted as an ex-fellow and teacher of Balliol College at the University of Oxford in 1325. By 1331, he was a Regent Master in Theology, and soon after was made Vice-Chancellor of the university. This was an almost unparalleled achievement for someone still in his early 30s, let alone an Irishman. As Vice-Chancellor, FitzRalph was faced with the crisis caused by the famous secession of masters and students to Stamford in Lincolnshire, and it is thought that this issue may have caused his first visit to the papal court at Avignon in 1334. He returned to England the following year, having been appointed Dean of Lichfield, notwithstanding that he has canonries and prebends of Crediton and Bosham, and has had provision made for him of the Chancellorship of Lincoln and the canonries and prebends of Armagh and Exeter, all of which he is to resign. In 1337 he was again compelled to visit Avignon, where he remained till 1344. On the 31st of July 1346, he was consecrated Archbishop of Armagh. In both of these positions, he was revered as thoughtful and competent administrator. From 1344, FitzRalph began to keep an account in diary form of his sermons. The shorter, less consequential ones were summarized, while the longer, more learned theological sermons were written in full. This was especially true for those he preached at Avignon. Both forms were written in Latin, and show his love of learning, shared by friends such as Richard of Bury. He is also believed to have sent many of his priests to study at Oxford to further the learning. His writings include his thoughts on infinity, predestination, and free will. Like his fellow Irishmen Henry Crumper and Dr. John Whitehead, he was involved in controversy with the Franciscan friar. The texts demonstrate that FitzRalph was preoccupied with social problems in Ireland. 29 sermons were given in Dundalk, Drogheda, Dublin and various places in Meath to churchmen, merchants and the general population, among whom he was very popular as a preacher. At a time of often hostile racial relations between the colonists and natives, he took an honourable stand in denouncing discrimination against the Gaelic Irish. At times severe, this was balanced by his very fair and serious approach as pastor of his flock, be they English, Anglo-Irish, or Gaelic. He undertook a third visit to Avignon from 1349 to 1351, where he is believed to have participated in the negotiations between the Armenian Apostolic Church and Pope Clement VI. His report on the Black Death is the first firm evidence of its arrival in Ireland. From his return to Ireland in 1351 he became involved in what eventually became a very personal and bitter attack on various orders of mendicant friar. He wished to have the privileges withdrawn in regard to the act of confession, preaching, and other acts, as they were undermining his secular clergy. As a result, he undertook a fourth visit to Avignon in 1357 to discuss the matter with Pope Innocent VI. He died there on the 16th of December 1360. In 1370, his remains were interred at St. Nicholas's Church, Dundalk, where his memory was venerated for several centuries and miracles were reported in connection to him. It is possible that FitzRalph was Chancellor of Oxford University in 1360.